Hello, my friends. My name is Gerdes, and if you're looking for Ukraine war news, you found the right place. Today is Tuesday, September 3rd. What we're looking at right now is the first underground school in Ukraine in Kharkiv. It looks like it's functional, looks like it's working well. The question is, it's tragic, according to Michael McFowle, and I think he's right, that this has to be an underground school. Really sad. It's functional, but wow. Okay, here Ukraine opened the first underground stabilization point for military personnel located near the front line, which has surgical and intensive care units. The hospital provide help to over 100 wounded soldiers per day. Ukraine plans to build more than 24 of these underground hospitals. And again, tragic that they have to do this sort of thing. Okay, losses of the occupiers, 1,360 Russians off the battlefield, 10 tanks, 35 armored fighting vehicles, 18 artillery systems, 47 vehicles, and fuel tanks. That's for today, September 3rd. I have not shown Andrew Perpetua's list for a couple of days. He's been behind, but this was not today. This is yesterday, I believe it is. But look at this. Look at a red. Red is Russian losses to Ukrainian losses. This is highly unusual. Day before that was about 1-to-1. Pretty significant. My guess is that there's a lot of action around Pokrovsk. I'm almost caught up now, he says. I started 2 days behind, and I'm now only 1/4 of a day behind, so that's progress. He has a terrible job, and I would not wish that on anyone. Thank you, Andrew, for everything that you do. Noel reports overnight Russia launched 35 Shahed drones, of which 27 were shot down. 6 crashed, likely due to electronic warfare measures. That leaves still a few that got through. Moscow Oil Refinery. This is an update on what happened just a few days ago. Moscow Oil Refinery has halted half of its operations after a Ukrainian drone strike. The refinery, which supplies about a third of Moscow's gasoline and is the largest kerosene supplier for its airports, had to shut down its Euro Plus oil producing unit. Now, to give you some perspective on that, the refinery can resume oil refining in the Euro Plus unit after repairs. It'll take a little less than a week to repair. 2023, the refinery processed 11.6 million tons of oil, producing 2.6 million tons of gasoline, 3.3 million tons of gas oil, 2.3 million tons of fuel oil, and 0.9 million tons of jet fuel. It's a pretty big place, and so a strike there, had it really caught on fire like some of the others, could have been catastrophic for them. Okay, in other news, the Tver airfield is under attack in Russia. This is just a picture of what it looks like. You saw some things at night that were popping around it, some anti-aircraft artillery and things. If something significant happened, we'll certainly find out in a day or two. Okay, an entire village is being evacuated in Kharkiv region due to large-scale fire. Regional military administration says the fire has covered 1.2 thousand hectares of forest in the Izium district and spread to the village of Studenkov. 77 units of equipment, 275 people are involved in to fight the fire there. According to local residents, 40 houses were burned. So not sure exactly what started this. My guess is it's not something careless, but part of the military conflict. With Western arms packages slow to arrive and Russian military production at record level, Russia seizes 1,100 square kilometers of eastern Ukraine in the month of August. So while the Ukrainians grabbed 1,245 square kilometers of Kursk, the salient in toward Pokrovsk, that as they're moving toward there, 1,100 square kilometers. And again, part of the reason is they aren't supplied to the degree that they need to be supplied. Those supplies are coming very slowly. Okay, there's widespread rumors of Russians using chemical weapons. POWs are returning looking like Auschwitz victims, and all kinds of bad things are happening to them. Gary Kasparov says, I call it like I see it. The leaders of the free world have become detached from reality. Their strategy is based on a status quo that doesn't exist anymore. Winning won't just happen on its own. Courage is required. Yeah, they got to do something different than what they're doing now. Here's the Kyiv Independent talking about the chemical weapons. Ukraine reports over 4,000 cases of Russian chemical weapons use on the front line, and most of it is fairly recent. Since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion, Ukraine has recorded over 4,000 cases of Russian chemical agents used on Ukraine's front line, including over 3,100 reported cases since December 2023, marking a significant uptick in weapons use, Ukraine support forces reported. That's what the chart looks like, okay? 3,000 of these have been since December, so Russia's just doing it with impunity. The West will say strong words and do nothing about it, which is terrible. Russians have totally destroyed the town of Pokrovsk with artillery, guided bombs, and missile strikes. Now they'll move in and call it Russia. Okay, so this is just a still picture of what Pokrovsk looks like. Greg Terry and I were just talking about Pokrovsk yesterday. We did a video. We could not upload the video yesterday because he's out of power where he is. He's in Ukraine, and they have theoretically 2 hours of power, and his 2 hours of power were interrupted with a power outage. So he couldn't upload. Now, he needed to edit something because we had technical issues as we were trying to record. Theoretically, this was supposed to post today. I hope it does post today, but he just texted me a little while ago and said he's got another power outage. So it may be tomorrow. We don't know. But this is a explanation of what's going on in Pokrovsk. Ukrainian parliament appealed to the G7 with a request to lift the ban on the use of weapons in military facilities on the territory of Russia, which is what you're supposed to be able to do during a time of war. From there, they launched rockets at our shopping centers and houses, and we have the right to hit their military objects. He's right. But the Biden administration is just so scared of escalation that they will not allow it. It's imperative that Ukraine is allowed to use British missiles in Russia. Great, except this is a former British Army colonel who has no authority to actually do anything about it. He's got the right message, but he has no authority. Now, here's the answer. Nearly 100% of drones used by the armed forces are now made in Ukraine, so they can hit anywhere that they want. You just can't use American-made weapons or other Western-made weapons in Russia. Over 200 domestic companies have entered the drone industry, transforming military technology. Homegrown innovation proves critical in the ongoing war with Russia, but it's slow. By the time you can build it, a lot of people have died in the process. Just imagine this. Roosevelt administration forbids Churchill from hitting German territory with American weapons. Can you imagine that? I can't imagine it either. And then we'll leave you with this. This is the U.S. mission to NATO saying this. The United States will stand with the people of Ukraine until they prevail. Russia will never succeed in Ukraine, and the spirit of the Ukrainian people will never be broken, according to the President of the United States. Ben Hodges' reply, please stop. No more thoughts and prayers. Constantly saying that we stand with Ukraine while actually only standing there is ruining all the goodwill and trust that we've earned in the early days. I think he's right. Like this is just not helping anybody. All right. That's all that I have, my friends. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes and the shares and the subscribes. And thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.